the rumors, the rumors are, I don't know any truth. This is what I heard, is that they were trying to not push her thing crazy because they didn't want to put connections between her and Diddy and align that stuff. That's just the rumors.
That's very weird. I don't know about that.
I don't know. I think it was the way storylines work these days, but I'm surprised it didn't take off more.
I am too.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw Podcast, Raw Rundown, where we give you the top 10 entertainment news stories of the week. We're not giving you the politics, the real news. We're giving you the good news, the entertainment, the fun news.
The news that doesn't stress you out every moment of the day and make you wonder where our country's going to be in 10 years from now. Not any of that stuff.
We're going to give you high school news. We're going to let you know who's almost going to be this year's homecoming king, who is not going to be this year's prom queen. That's the type of stuff that we give you. My name is Adam Glyn. Over there is Dax Holt. I am 99% recovered. I still have a little bit of a cough. I've been just working chaotically lately, trying to give you guys content, which, by the way, Dax, I need to post some of our photos that I have in our private Facebook group, Off the Record. I owe it to our community to see some of my photos I've taken with people lately, even some of the interviews I've done. But on the middle of the week, Dax and I usually yenta and gossip with each other, sometimes with a celebrity, sometimes with someone regarding the entertainment news world or someone that could be interesting to pop culture. And then on Fridays, we give you the top 10 stories of the week. How do we pick the top 10 stories? It goes by Google search, it goes by data, and lastly, it goes by our personal opinions. I think for this week, I think you guys can imagine which is going to be the top story of the week, but I'm not going to give any hints.
I'm going to tell them the new Whitney Houston movie that's coming out. There, number one, guys.
Wait, is there? yeah. April Fool's came early. I was like, Dax, I actually got confused.
No, there is.
Wait.
Hey, there's a new Whitney Houston movie that it's like her tour in her concert in South Africa. I don't know. I saw it on when I was watching something the other day. It popped up and it's like never before seen footage. Whitney Houston in concert in South Africa. Blah blah. I was just being silly.
Yeah, Dax, by the way, are you a big Bruce Springsteen fan? Are you a Bruce Springsteen fan, or is it just whatever to you? Is it someone you respect but you don't really?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like he was such a big part of growing up. My parents played him all the time, but I wouldn't say that I'm some massive Bruce Springsteen fan by any means.
Yeah, I am a solid Bruce Springsteen fan. Am I obsessed? No, because it's not really my generation. However, for how I grew up, it's part of the New Jersey culture. He's a legend. He's a hero for the area. And I screwed up this past weekend. He was playing down at the Jersey Shore on the beach. They had this big surf and rock festival. And I just been so busy lately that I just didn't go. I was like, yeah, I'll get him the next time. And I regret it because I didn't know it was the first time Bruce ever played Asbury Park and ever played on the beach. And he played for 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours. He played all the hits. I mean, it was chaotic. I mean, it was thousands and thousands and thousands of people. But I regret not going and experiencing that because that'd been something cool to kind of see. And apparently, everyone's saying
you have to be such a loser, Adam. You know better than that. You don't let an opportunity to go by.
I know. You never waste a moment. But I'll go see Bruce. I'll figure it out because he's one of those guys you have to see. It's a great show, but maybe it's just for me, it's part of the culture where I'm from. So it is what it is. Before we get to the top 10 stories of the week, we read reviews. It helps us out with the algorithm, helps us out in the podcast charts. And when you give us a review, we'll actually give you a shout out live on the air. Dax, do you have a review ready for us?
Of course. I always have a review ready for you, Adam. All right. This one comes from Jenna7, 5-star review, and it says, consistently entertaining is the headline. This podcast is on my must listen to list. Adam and Dax have a wealth of experience and get to the most interesting guests. It's really different from most celeb gossip podcasts. Give it a listen. Oh, Janine. I think I read her name wrong. Janine. Thank you, Janine. Appreciate it. And we are different from every other gossip podcast out there, I would say. it's not just gossip. We're trying to get you details. We're trying to get you information. We're trying to get you behind the scenes of the stories that are going on out there. So I appreciate you acknowledging the work that we put into this. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for the review. Keep them coming. If you left one, find a different way to get your name on our show. It's like people like write to me and they say it's fun to like listen and to see if we read the review. And we actually really do. And we pretty much have, I don't know, Dex, we've gotten to we just keep going through them. It's just keep going, keep them going.
Well, they keep coming. I will say that I did look the other day because I have to then, grab a bunch, put them into our system so that I'm ready to read them. And I checked, and last week we had the last 2 weeks we had a huge bump in listeners. I think just because of the Brooke Mueller interview, the Vicky interview, a lot of new people, a lot of new listeners. But I didn't see a bunch of new reviews, and that's not common. Normally so there is a big gap. So if you want to get a review read on air, this would be the time to submit a new one, because I'm going to hit a point where I need to get new ones, and there hasn't been a new actual one left. People are leaving stars, but they're not leaving the review. And so leave one, and it'll probably get on sooner than you actually imagine.
Yes. All right. Let's get to the Raw rundown, starting with number 10.
Number 10, Josh Gad, very famous actor, voice actor. He was the voice of Olaf. Regretting one big thing about that movie, and it was the fact that he used his own voice for Frozen. And he just said, look, you don't realize when you do this like voice over work that it really could turn into a massive, massive movie. And then every child at every grocery store, you start talking, they hear your voice and they start to look at you. And I think that is exactly what he's going through. But basically, he just said, look, I that is my one regret. I don't regret anything else about that movie other than I should have changed my voice or altered my voice for that character so that it's not me giving my voice away to Olaf. Does that make sense, Adam?
It makes sense. Can I be honest with you, Dex? I never saw Frozen.
I'm going to have to internalize this real fast. So give me a minute to really process exactly what you said out loud. Yeah. Yes, that is a really big deal. But I guess it's different because when Frozen was out, I had like a 4 or 5 year old child running around the house, so it makes more sense why I would have seen Frozen at that time. But it's also just such a big movie that it's shocking that you don't have any nephews or nieces or anything that would have been like, Uncle Adam, take me to go see the movie.
No, I know the song from, with her and Dina Menzel. I know it was a hit, but I've never saw the movie. I just didn't even know that Josh Gad's. Do you think, Dak, from seeing the movie, that Josh Gad's voice was that
yes, it's that recognizable? 100%.
Really? I didn't know that.
Olaf's voice is one of the most recognizable voices in like Disney history. So I can see why he opens up his mouth at a grocery store and every kid is going to be like, whoop, because it's like Iago from Aladdin. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to know Gilbert Gottfried's voice because that is Iago's voice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get it. Dax, speaking of voice, I don't know if I ever told you the story. So one time I ran into Mike Tyson getting into a little bit of, I'll tell you the truth. So Mike Tyson was going to a building in New York and he was getting harassed by like these autographers, like going nuts. Like there were just like 20 of them, like, Mike, can you sign? Mike, can you sign? It was crazy. And Mike Tyson, like, back up. Like he went crazy, like to like get these people to back up. Like, yeah. And everyone's like, whoa, like Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson acts up, gets into it, you back up. And everyone got nervous. And I had it on video of Mike Tyson like about to throw down with these people. Now he wasn't chest bumping these people. He didn't like cock his hand back like he was about to throw a punch. But he was angry, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, is Mike Tyson about to go Mike Tyson?" And his rep looked at me like, "You cannot do anything with that video."
Really?
And I said, "Fine." I said, "Fine," because he's been good to me in the past. I said, "Here's the thing: he has to do my my voicemail from my phone. And they're like, I got you. We'll make it work. And I was such an idiot. I deleted the video first, and then he never did my voicemail.
No.
Yeah. They were like, yeah, we'll get it together. I was like, come on, it'll be so good. And like, yeah. And they just kind of blew me off. I was like, dude, come on. I did you a favor. And actually, this publicist too, I actually gave them clients and made them a lot of money, and I got nothing in return. So I'm sort of pissed off about that. But
well, you're an idiot, Adam. I don't have to tell you. You deleted that video.
I should have never deleted that video. However, my voicemail now on my phone is Hank Azaria from The Simpsons doing Mo. You know that, right?
Yeah, and it sounds good.
It sounds
but
good.
I played that for the audience before, didn't I?
Yeah. 80% of like people who call me, like people in my family, like, you got to get rid of that voicemail. It's not professional. It's not good. And some people are like, I don't know what it is. But
did you look at your family members and say one thing about me that is professional?
That is true. That is so true. So accurate. But it's funny, whenever someone who was very important called me, or someone like a 305, not 305, Miami or like an LA number called me, or an agent or manager, they will always say, hey, that's a great voicemail. So
yeah,
fair enough. All right, Dex, moving on to number 9.
Number 9, David Schwimmer, talking about one of the biggest mistakes he ever made. Well, it's not even the biggest mistake. It's a career directional move that he knows that if things were different, he would have been a much bigger movie star right now. But basically, come to find out, he passed up on the Men in Black film back in the day. So David Schwimmer obviously was a huge star from Friends. They had a big 4-month break on Friends. Men in Black was going to be filming, and it was going to slot in perfectly in between the Friends filming. So he's like, I could actually do this movie. But unfortunately, he had already had the ball rolling on a couple other things. He was going to be doing his directorial debut for another movie, and he had all of his friends kind of lined up. They had quit their jobs. They were now going to sign on to this production company to be a part of this new movie, career path for him. And he wanted to be a director. And he goes, and then I got this offer and I couldn't give it up. Like, he's like, I couldn't. He goes, I knew that Men in Black was going to be a massive movie. I know that it would have turned me into a legit movie star, like the movie choices that Jen Aniston did, because Jen became that big movie star, right? Like, she was obviously a big TV star from Friends, but she was the one that really became a huge star. And I know, like, Lisa Kudrow did a lot of big movies. Some of them have done some really good career choices, but if you were in Men in Black at that time, do you remember how big that movie was back in the day, Adam?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that was from just not just the movie itself, from merchandise to everything that along with it. It took over for a period of time.
Yeah, and so he goes, listen, he quoted as basically a brutal decision not to do it, but he couldn't have, like, he would have screwed over a lot of friendships if he had said, never mind, I'm not going to be the director on this movie. All these people quit their jobs to be a part of this with me. He goes, I made the right decision. And sometimes you have to make the right decision over the decision that maybe could have changed your life. And I think a lot of people may disagree with him on that one. But nevertheless, that was the decision he makes. He doesn't regret it, but I think he just thinks, damn, my career could have been so much different right now than it is.
You know what the biggest takeaway I have from this is, like, I kind of relate it to like my stuff, whereas like I'm trying to like actively find work, and these guys are like turning down work. Like these guys are just turning down so much money. So,
but do you ever wonder, like, it is really fascinating to think about these moves that people have made during their careers, and had they have done the different move, where would they be today? You know what I'm saying? Like, if that wasn't Tommy Lee Jones, and I don't know what role it would have been in Men in Black, so I can't say, but let's say it was Will Smith and David Schwimmer in Men in Black. Where would David Schwimmer's career have gone? What other big movies would he have then signed on to that, we think of Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, but would that have been David Schwimmer in Mission Impossible? Like, that's the crazy stuff to think about. What could have been.
Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs. But when you think of Men in Black, obviously it was incredible for Will Smith. Was it game changer for Tommy Lee Jones? Like
Tommy was already a huge star. No chance.
Yeah, so was Will Smith. Will Smith was a big deal too, but Tommy was just a different type of actor. He didn't want that, maybe it was a casting thing. He didn't need all that attention. He's just like kind of sticks to the beat of his own drum. So, yeah, it could have been very interesting if it would have been a whole. I mean, that's an episode in itself. We kind of talked about with Kevin Frazier.
Or do you go the other way? Do you go the other way and go, if David Schwimmer was in it, would it have been the movie that it was? Like, did it become such a blockbuster because of the collaboration between Will and Tommy Lee Jones that made it this huge blockbuster? You know what I'm saying? There's so many factors that it really has to be the right combination of ingredients to make the recipe amazing. And that worked for that movie at that time. If David Schwimmer was in there, would it have been? I don't know. Could it have even been a bigger success? Maybe. It's interesting.
Yeah. Interesting perspective, Daxiel. I call it Daxiel like Daniel.
Daxiel.
All right, Daxiel. Does anybody else call you Daxiel? Does anyone ever call you that?
No, I get Daximus most.
Daximus.
Yeah. A lot of people call me just D. Hey, D. Daximus. That's about it.
People just call me a piece of shit, and then I just keep riding. Never ends well. It's a rock for me. It's sad. Dax, number 8.
That was really funny. Dolly Parton, she is defending the CMAs after Beyonce's Cowboy Carter big snub. She was not nominated from any of the 2024 CMA awards. The nominations came out and everyone's like, where the hell is Beyonce's name? She just put out this huge, very successful country album and then didn't get a single nomination. And so obviously the Bayhive went crazy and they've been going after it. And then Dolly Parton, and she was asked about this. She did an interview with Variety, and she said, "Listen." And the connection here is, if people didn't know, Beyonce did Jolene. She covered Jolene, which is a very famous Dolly Parton song on the Cowboy Carter album, and so Dolly is kind of very much wrapped up into all of this. And she goes, "Well, you never know." She goes, "There's so many wonderful country artists that I guess." Probably the country music field, they probably felt, well, we can't really leave out some of the ones that spend their entire life doing country. She said that, Cowboy Carter is a wonderful album and that Beyonce should be very, very proud of what she has done. And I think everyone in country music welcomed her and thought this was really good. So I don't think it was a matter of shutting out, like that they're doing it on purpose. I think that it was more just of what the country charts and the country artists were doing and doing all of that at the time, not specifically a specialty album. So she's basically saying, look, this was a specialty album where other people spend their entire lives doing country music, and maybe CMA was really just awarding those true country artists. I don't know. I felt like it did bring a lot of attention to country music. I mean, there were songs on Beyonce's album that I am not a massive country fan. There's certain country songs that I truly, really like. And this one had me really liking the country songs, and maybe other people don't feel like it's true country, so they don't give her flowers. But there's been a long history of the CMAs and Beyonce. Do you remember back in the day, she went up on stage to perform with the Dixie Chicks, and then that didn't make social media, and her fans went crazy saying you cut Beyonce out of the show, you didn't air her, you didn't promote her, and then I think she did one of her songs basically saying that she was at an award show once and didn't feel welcome, didn't feel a part of it, and that was really the inspiration for doing a country album. And so this on top of all of that is really just kind of a stab in the heart.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some rumors that Beyonce's album, that country whole thing, kind of simmered down. First of all, the first song was really good, but there's some rumors that the the album itself sort of simmered down a little bit because of at that time the Diddy story started to escalate, and
But why
they're
would
afraid.
that? But why would Diddy stories like stop her album? Like, I don't understand that.
So apparently, I think the rumors, the rumors are, I don't know any truth. This is what I heard, is that they were trying to not push her thing crazy because they didn't want to put connections between her and Diddy and align that stuff. That's just the rumors
That's
I've heard.
very weird. I don't know
Yeah,
about that.
I don't know. I think it was the way storylines work these days, but I'm surprised it didn't
Oh,
take off
I
more
am too.
myself.
So here was I found the social media post finally. This is what she said about the album back in March. She said, "It was born out of an experience that I had years ago where I did not feel welcome. And it was very clear that I wasn't. But because of that experience, I did a deeper dive into the history of country music and studied our rich musical archive." And I think most people believe that that was because of her being at the CMAs many, many years ago with the Dixie Chicks. And there was a lot of like racial posts once the CMAs had like talked about her. A lot of people were saying some really racial shit. And, listen, I don't know. I wasn't there, but I think that was not a very good experience for her.
Yeah. All right, moving on, Dax, to number 7.
Ellen DeGeneres coming out with a Netflix special, and she is talking about the toxic image that she has on her career and being kicked out of Hollywood. And she basically confronts it head on. So if you go and watch the trailer that Netflix just released, she makes a joke and she just says, "Look, what have I been up to? Oh, I've been gardening and I've been doing this and that. And what else has been going on in my life? Oh yeah, I got kicked out of Hollywood." And then she makes a joke saying, it really comes down to the fact that at the end of her show, she said her tagline was "Be kind." And she goes, I should have said, "Go fuck yourself." And then people would have been surprised that I'm nice. And so she mentions it. And I think this is kind of her attempt at a comeback of like, hey, remember, I am funny. I am an entertainer. Like, I don't want to go down in the history books as just a shitty employer. And what was interesting is Netflix released this trailer on YouTube, and they actually left the comments on. And so I started reading all the comments under the YouTube. Nasty. Like I read, I watched it and I was like, aha, like I do feel that people should be given a second chance. If you apologize, if you acknowledge that maybe you were a shitty employer, you did shitty things, and as long as you didn't, kill babies, like, okay, so you're a shitty boss. Like, but now acknowledge that and apologize to the people that deserve an apology. And I believe you're given a second chance. The comments did not feel the same way. They were ripping her apart, which I thought was interesting because it's all about what a shitty person she is. But like half the comments, I felt like these are shitty people saying shitty things in the comments. It doesn't make you a better person because you're the one who can behind a screen troll someone else and say really rude things about them. Like, then you're no better than that person. But it was just vile comment after vile comment after vile comment. And I don't know. I will watch it 100%. I will watch it. I used to be a big fan of Ellen. I did know about a lot of this, like things going on behind the scenes. And I knew that it would come out one day. We had talked about it a lot before the allegations came forward of just like very toxic work environment. And so neither of us were surprised. But again, am I going to, for the rest of my life, hold that against Ellen? No. As long as she has said her sorry and done her thing, then I'll give her a second chance.
Yeah, I think this whole special came out of her wanting to kind of control the narrative. I don't think she wanted that stigma on her resume. She wanted to get her final say and take on it, and also put it in a comedic spin. So I understand. I think honestly, this special came down to that whole premise. She wanted to kind of let people, the last impression of her, know that she's funny. she meant to be funny. B, that, she apologized and she doesn't want people to, it's hard for people to forget that, but she wanted to kind of control the last narrative with a comedic spin on that. So, because again,
why are these people not willing to give anyone a second chance? Like, I get it, you get canceled.
It's fun to hate. It's fun to hate on people. It's fun to get angry on people. Sometimes, listen, I get it, because sometimes I'm like on social media and I just want to troll people. The only thing I troll is that whoever handles the ESPN Instagram handle, because whoever does it does a terrible job. So I let them hear it. But it's like, why not? You're sitting at home. You want to kind of shit on them. You want to kind of get a reaction, because it's sad. It's sad that could be fun. So, but I understand for Ellen doing the special. Do I think Ellen wrote this special herself? I think she probably wrote about 15% of it. I think she had writers work with her.
That's normal. That's normal for a lot of big comedians. Yeah, for big comedians, they're going to sit down. They're going to sit in a room full of writers. She's done it for years. She had an amazing writing team on her show. Why would you not have them sit down if you have the means and you want to have a comeback? Hey, get everyone in a room. Let's figure out what's going to work for me, what's going to really hit with the audience. Tell me all the shitty things you've heard about me. Okay, now let's turn that into something to like laugh about. Listen, Alec Baldwin has done way more shitty things than Ellen has ever done, and yet he went on Saturday Night Live, would make people laugh, and then suddenly it was like wiped away out of existence. I don't find what she's doing. I think it's a smart move. Like,
I don't
get up there, try to come back. Don't hide away forever. That's when people, the last thing they're going to remember you by is by this scandal. Get out there and be seen.
Tell that to Matt Lauer, okay? I don't think Ellen's going to work. Do I think Ellen's going to work again? I don't think she'll ever do a TV show again. I think she might do voiceover on movies because she'd get a kick out of that. And it's fun, easy pay gig. I don't think she'll even do stand-up really again. I think this might be her last stand-up special. That's my prediction. I don't know, because I don't think it's just worth it for her to. I don't think she cares enough to really do that much. I think voiceover for like kids movies might be the last thing you do. I don't think she ever gets into acting again. So but she has to address that topic. Dax number 6.
Cardi B and Offset were hit with a lawsuit the other day saying that basically there was an 11-page complaint that they saw a property, they wanted to use it without paying fair market value. They rented it for 24 hours, and according to the lawsuit, they said it was for a TikTok video when in fact it was for her music video, and so they want more money. Well, Cardi B is now responding to that lawsuit and saying, F you, I'll see you in court. Basically, she went on to her social media page and she put up this big long post that said, we paid those people $10,000 in cash to rent the property for a whole 24 hours. That same day from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. the next morning. And we went over by 1 hour, which we paid an overage fee to the realtors for in March. She said, now they're going to finesse us and try to say that we told them it was for a TikTok video when there was nowhere in the contract like that. They didn't hear the music playing the whole time and see how long we were shooting. Why would it take us 24 hours to shoot a TikTok? She then went on to say basically, the problem is, hold on, my screen just jumped. The problem is people want to find loopholes and get over, but iron your best suit, bitch. I'll see you in court.
Wow, that's so good.
I love it. Cardi. I love her. She is the fucking funniest, like most real person. And I love that. And
that's
the thing is, I believe a lot of the things that Cardi says because she's not someone that holds back. Like when she does something dumb, she'll say it. When she does something messed up, she'll say it. When she does something great, she'll say it. And that's one thing that I truly like about Cardi B. And it wasn't the only kind of story that happened this week. She was getting a lot of criticism for working out 8 days after giving birth. Everyone's like, damn, what the hell are you doing, girl? Like, go spend time with your baby. Like that was basically the narrative. And so she responded to it because Cardi is not someone that sits back and takes criticism and then doesn't respond. She said, look, this is my third baby in postpartum. is a little different from my first two. I'm not doing the heavy lifting, no muscles straining, squatting, none of that, just cardio. Sometimes to avoid postpartum depression, you got to keep your mind busy. And for me, that's work and staying active. But you know what's funny? Y'all dragged me down when I gained 15 pounds because I was 5 months pregnant. But now y'all fake concerned and want to talk about pressure. Y'all said that I was pregnant to avoid working. Now that you see that I am still at it, there's something else. So yeah, I'm taking this personal, but it's for me because either of y'all, sorry, I'm trying to read this, because either way, y'all gonna find something to say, which is true. She's like, I'm in a no-win situation here. You call me fat, but I'm pregnant. But then you say, I only got pregnant, so I don't have to work. But like, I can't, there's nothing I can do that will make everyone happy. So screw all of you. Let me live my life.
Team Cardi. Cardi is just, she rules. She rules. She says you know what's the crazy part is she's sort of well-spoken, even though it's not politically correct.
Yeah.
You know, like it's one of those things where
she says exactly what's on her mind. And you always, like, I walk away from her statements being like, yeah, she's right. She's so right.
Yeah, she makes great points. You know, I did an interview with her once on our tour bus I've talked about, and the person had a relationship with her. So I was dealing with my person, and for the outlet I had, and I was like, so are you talking to her publicist? Like, no, we're just DMing with her. And she was the one setting it up. And I was like, fuck that. That's awesome. Like, it's so cool. But like, yeah, let's do it. And not dealing with all these people, like just kind of being real and about it. And yeah, I think I believe Cardi. I just think, I don't know. I believe her. You know, I hope I'm not an idiot for believing her, but I believe her side. Somehow I don't know why, but I just believe anything Cardi B says. Maybe it's the anger and emotion that she puts into her posts.
We won't be able to be jurors on during that court case. We are way too biased, Team Cardi on this one.
Not what we just said. All right, Dax, number 5.
Pharrell Williams telling all those other big movie stars and musicians, just shut the hell up when it comes to politics. He did a wide-ranging interview with the Hollywood Reporter, and at one point, I guess the conversation turned to politics, and which led to him criticizing his fellow artists. He gets annoyed when certain celebs whose opinions he does not respect try to make people vote for specific candidates. He also tried to explain that he's not political and thinks other entertainers should follow his lead, saying, I'm not one of them people. What the heck? Shut up. No one asked you. He didn't stop there. He also said he despises when celebs get all self-righteous and walk in with a sign touting their political ideologies. He didn't name any names, but I mean, there's been a lot of people throwing around their endorsements. Obviously, Taylor Swift was the latest big one who backed Kamala Harris. So I don't know if it was necessarily aimed at her, but you know, there is sometimes where you get some big endorsement and I'm like, I don't care. Like, we're in 2 different tax brackets. You live a very privileged, different life from me. Like, I don't care what you think about a nominee. Like, keep it to yourself. And I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's good for a celebrity to lend their platform, but then it makes people not go out and do the research on who they should be voting for, who best aligns with their ideology, or who best would fit their needs in their economical circumstance. I don't know. So I get what he's kind of saying here.
So do you like, or do you care when a celebrity talks about their political decision, which route they're voting?
It doesn't influence me, if that's what you're asking. I'm always just like, again, we live very different lives than celebrities. So I think their view on the world, they have a lot more money. They have a lot more doors that are opening for them. They have people watching over their bank accounts. We don't have that. So we need to kind of be a little more scrappy and fight for what we have in this world. And so sometimes I'm just like, sorry, whoever, like, that's great that is your opinion, but we don't live the same life here. So I don't know if I can trust you. I need to go out and do my own research on who is the best candidate for me, for my family, for my situation.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It doesn't, what a celebrity picks as their political candidate, for example, what's going on and right now, it's not a decision maker for me. It doesn't make my pick any different. However, I understand the interest and curiosity of who they're voting for because there's a lot of things that go into it though. It goes into are they doing that pick for political reasons for their own career, or are they doing it for political reasons for what they think is right or wrong, or how the future of the country should be?
I liked it better when people didn't talk about who they were voting for.
I agree. I think
you remember those days, like when I was growing up, my parents wouldn't even talk about like, oh, who'd you vote for? Oh, we don't talk about that. You know, and it was kind of nice, you know, because you just, it's so weird these days how politics can just strum up like this hate and aggression for each other when it's like, guys, at the end of the day, don't we all want what's best for our country? Don't we want to live in this amazing country together and happy? And all of it is, I feel like politics in general, no matter what side you are on, I feel like it is tearing our country apart. It's very weird.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, Dax, let's move on because, the more we speak, the more some other D-list celebrity comes out and lets us know who they're voting for because I didn't ask. I'm not saying Billie Eilish or Taylor's D-list, but I really do not care. Dax, number 4.
The Emmy Awards happened this week. We talked a little bit about the reason that there was a second Emmy Awards this year. Basically, the Emmy Awards from last year got pushed into January. That is why there was a part 2 of the Emmys. If you did not watch, I can basically give you a little summary. And that was that The Bear won 4 awards, Baby Reindeer won 4 awards, Shotgun won 4 awards, and Hacks won three times. What is Hacks? I've never heard of it, and it actually won a bunch.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I've never seen it. In fact, all the shows I haven't seen. I try watching The Bear, but I usually watch it late at night and I just fall asleep. I know a lot of people who do watch it say they love the show.
It's not a comedy. It's not the Bear videos that you watch.
Oh, sheesh. No, Dax, never mind. Never mind. I hope it was those type of Bear videos.
It's about a chef. It's a whole thing. Not the ones you're watching.
Of course.
We watched Baby Reindeer. It was interesting. It was because it got so much attention that it was kind of one of those ones I was like, I want to see what happens. It was interesting. I thought they did a good job acting in it because it was literally about the guy's life and he had to relive his whole life with the stalker. Anyway, yeah. I don't really have much to say about the Emmys. I have watched clips here and there. I did not sit down to watch it. I did not have time this year. I had coaching. I had all these other things going on. So I didn't get to sit on my couch and watch it like I watched in the past.
The only award show that I watch, and I did watch the MTV Music Awards a little bit, but it was more like background TV. It's not like I cared about who won or not. It was more background TV as I was doing laundry. But the one I do sit down and watch is the Oscars.
Yep.
Do you watch the Oscars?
I like the Oscars. I also am a big fan of the Grammys. And I think it's just because I like the music part of it that I like to watch the performances. There are normally a lot of big songs that were popping this year. So Grammys and Oscars are the two that I truly enjoy watching. I used to when I was even more involved in like working at TMZ, so you kind of had to watch this stuff. I loved the Golden Globes when like Ricky Gervais was hosting because he was so funny and just poking fun at everyone. But the Golden Globes, you get away with a lot more, and it's probably because everyone's drinking in the audience, where you don't have that drinking at a lot of the other award shows.
You know, I want to take what I said back. I do watch the Grammys. Again, Grammys was like background TV a little bit, but I still watch it. And I do watch the Golden Globes, but again, it's the Oscars. Like I kind of prep for the Oscars. Like I like to watch the movies that are nominated, because also when the Oscars come out, it's more of like that time of year when there's not much to do. So I try to watch movies. It gives me like a hobby of something to see and watch. So that's what I do. But enough about me, Dax. Let's get more into our number 3 story, Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus is being accused of copying Bruno Mars's song when she sang Flowers. So this is really interesting, but she got hit with a lawsuit, not from Bruno, which is interesting, but she got hit by Tempo Music Investment, who owns a share of the copyright to his song, When I Was Your Man. And so she was sued, saying Flowers has, quote unquote, striking similarities to Flowers, and that according to the docs, they want some money out of her. They don't want her performing it anymore. They want it pulled down from basically YouTube. Listen, you get these lawsuits a lot, and a lot of time you go back and you listen and you're like, okay, I hear it. I played Flowers, and then I went and I played When I Was Your Man. Could you potentially say that they kind of sound similar? Maybe. But do I feel like they sound similar enough for there to be a lawsuit? Not really. They're saying that there are numerous melody and harmonic and lyrical elements that are basically direct ripoffs from When I Was Your Man. There's a sequence of verses, there's connecting bass lines, certain bars of the chorus, certain theatrical musical elements, lyrical elements, specific chord progressions, all of that has been ripped off. I wonder that if she wouldn't have just won a Grammy for this song, if they would have been coming forward, but now that she won the Grammy, now they're like, okay, let's move forward with this lawsuit. I just have a hard time. I feel like everything you think of in this world, someone else has probably already thought of first. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's really hard with music to constantly be coming out with something new, because you come out with something and people start to pick it apart and look for one little connection of two words. Oh, well, I said that once, so they owe me money. It seems, I can't say for sure, it seems like a little bit of a money grab. We'll let the court decide what actually happens here. Did you listen to both of them by chance?
I did. I see similarities with some of them. This one's not really that strong for me. But do you think, Dax, that Bruno is in on this? Like, Bruno's
No.
like, dude, go after, or it's just...
I don't think so. I think this would look really bad on Bruno. I think that, and I think there's a reason that every single article says Bruno is not listed as a plaintiff in here, because he does not want to be connected to this.
Yeah, but it's still connected.
He doesn't need the money. Bruno doesn't need the money. Like, this is a money play. Why else would you go after him unless it's for money? Bruno Mars is a multi-millionaire. So for him, I don't think he wants to be connected to it, because it also makes you look bad in the music industry. Like, Bruno, really? You're going after Miley Cyrus for a song that earned her first Grammy Award? Like, come on, dude. So I don't think he's involved.
Who are the people going after Miley then?
It's a company that owns a little bit of investment in the song.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they have a slight investment into it, and so they are now going after her.
Okay, now I understand. And I guess since they do have a little piece of it, they're able to go after her. It's an awkward thing. Do you think Bruno reaches out to Miley and says, "Hey, I just want to let you know"?
I'm sure he would, because this has now gained so much news. I would not be surprised if Bruno is like, "Hey, I need to get a hold of Miley. Let her know I have nothing to do with this. I want no part of this lawsuit. I hope we're still cool. Sorry, this is an investment group that has a piece of my song. They're the ones going after you. I am not."
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely awkward. Definitely awkward. Dax, number 2.
Number 2, Justin Timberlake, obviously been all over the news this week. A lot of people wanting to see the body cam footage of that arrest from his DWI, but it will not be coming out, so don't get too excited. You're never going to see the footage of him basically during that traffic stop back in, when was that, June? I guess apparently they have now sealed that. According to his team and prosecutors, they mutually agreed to seal the video, preventing people from accessing outside the prosecutors and Timberlake's team. And if you remember, he pled guilty last week in a Sag Harbor courtroom to driving while impaired. And basically it got demoted down to a minor traffic offense. So he will perform 25 hours of community service. He will make a PSA warning people against consuming alcohol and driving. And he had said outside court later that day that he had fallen short of his own standard, and he promises to do his part to put an end to drinking and driving. But that is about it. A lot of people criticizing, saying, oh, wow, Justin Timberlake can just basically drink and drive and then get away with it. That is privilege at its best. He did go on Jimmy Fallon. There was no mention, obviously, of the drunk driving incident or the plea deal. They basically skipped over it. And so people were ragging on Jimmy and the show for not saying anything. And I'm like, there's no way Jimmy could bring this up. They're friends. He's not going to bring this up. Timberlake's going to say, I don't want to talk about this. Please don't bring this up. It's the elephant in the room. But can we focus on my tour? Can we focus on other things? So all the fans going after Jimmy for not bringing it up, they're crazy. He couldn't bring it up.
But do you think that's the time for Timberlake to? I guess he addressed it because he did do a small press conference after he got arrested. So, but do you think that's the time?
What are you supposed to do? Joke about drinking while driving? That's going to make it worse.
No, not joke about it, but just say, listen, what happened? And honestly, just I had too many drinks. Screwed up, guys. Do better, and just kind of own up to it and just say, do better.
That probably would have been a smart move.
Yeah. I'm not saying dwell into too much, but it's not joke about it. But I just think it could have been done a little bit differently. I think
you just think acknowledging it somehow.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I think even though Jimmy Fallon not being that guy, it's step up. This, you have to. It happened 5 days ago. 5 days ago it happened. So, all right, Dax, the number one story of the week.
Number one story is Sean P. Diddy Combs being denied bail and having to sit in jail until the sex trafficking and racketeering case is in front of a judge. This is a really, really big deal. So a New York federal judge denied him at the arraignment hearing on Tuesday. Listen, he is huge executive, very powerful person. And unfortunately, that came back to bite him in the butt because the charges that were unsealed earlier this week accused Combs of running a decades-long racketeering conspiracy that included sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery. If he is convicted on all these charges, he potentially faces a sentence of life in prison. So there was an initial hearing on Tuesday in front of a Manhattan courtroom, which obviously was packed full of reporters and everyone wanting to see what the heck was going on. He pled not guilty to each of the three charges he was facing. His attorney also requested, get this, that he be released on a $50 million bond. You're going to the judge saying, we will pay you $50 million to make sure he does not sit behind bars for the next couple weeks. And they also said, we'll surrender his passport. We'll submit to constant monitoring. We'll sell his private jet. Just let him out of jail. And the judge was like, nah. I'm going to side with the prosecutors who basically had said that they warned that he's a billionaire. He is still an executive. He posts a flight risk and has the means to really flee what am I trying to say? Undetected. Flee undetected is what they said.
Flight
risk. Yeah. And that he also could go and intimidate witnesses if he's released. So she ruled, sorry, no. I agree with the prosecution. He needs to remain behind bars. So a massive loss for him. It's funny because you always talk about, these people are so wealthy and so successful. And this is the one time that success bites you in the ass and goes, yeah, you're right. If we let him go, there's a chance that we never get him back here. And they go, but we even brought him to New York. We brought him here so he could be arrested. And the judge still said, nope, not having it.
Yeah. So, what's so funny? I just saw a video. Cassie is being filmed by paparazzi in New York. I don't know this for sure, but the paparazzi are never chasing Cassie. I have to imagine.
Yeah, but I would say she's a huge target right now. Yeah, what are her thoughts on this? What is her, because
you don't think she called the paparazzi? That's what I'm getting into. She's taking advantage of this moment a little.
So Normally, I would say maybe yes, just because of everything going on. In this situation, though, she is one of the main people that has been tied into this whole thing with the video of her at the hotel coming out.
Sure.
She had sued him. The lawsuit that was quickly settled. So I would say she is a person of interest with everyone. You want to see what she's doing. So I would think paparazzi or media, they want to get her reaction. Holy shit, he's stuck behind bars. Cassie, what do you think about Diddy being stuck behind bars? What do you think about them not allowing him to leave? Like, you're going to want, and she's not going to say anything.
No,
I doubt she can. And I bet when they settled this lawsuit, there was a non-disclosure in there. She can never talk about Diddy ever again for the rest of her life, blah, 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 blah. But I think if there was someone, like we've had a couple really savvy paparazzi on our podcast in the past, that 100% would be like, that's the shot to get right now. That's going to make me a lot of money.
I wouldn't say a lot of money, that shot, but it is a big, it's going to get you on Daily Mail. It's going to make a couple $100. You're lucky if it makes even $1,000 on it. So your thoughts on this, Dax? Do you think he's ultimately not, we're going to see him living a free life again?
That'll be up to the court. I don't know about that. When you read through this indictment, basically they're saying for decades he abused, threatened, coerced women and others around him to fulfill their sexual desires, to protect his reputation and conceal his conduct. I mean, they're putting together a pretty big case right now, especially the racketeering stuff. So they're going to be throwing a lot of time and effort at him to keep him behind bars is really what it comes down to. And this will ruin his legacy. Like, oh, you think Ellen ruined her legacy by being shitty to some employees? This is the type of stuff that will land you in the Bill Cosby, Hall of Shame. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And whether it's true or not, we'll let the court decide. But this is now what's going to be in people's mind forever.
It's just interesting that for as big a celebrity P. Diddy is or has been, you do not see anybody supporting him. You don't see anybody sticking up for him, or defending his character, other celebrities defending his character or what he did from his parties, because he was so in the mix of it. Now everyone's kind of backed away because no one wants to touch it. And if he was your real friend and you think he's innocent, you would defend it, I would think, right?
You think, but then, look at Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. Remember when they wrote that letter to the judge about the Danny Masterson case and how that blew back? That was their friend, and they tried to defend him, and then they had to go out and apologizing for defending him. So do you try to stick out your neck for someone, or do you go, I'm going to let this one and see how it plays out in court?
Yeah.
Stay away from it.
Yeah, I am very curious how this plays out. Will we see P. Diddy free again? Will I ever get to hug P. Diddy again? Because I have a video of P. Diddy hugging me. So that could be the only time. I don't know if I got to get that clip off the internet. A video.
You might need to scrub that one pretty soon, bro.
Yeah, then I get affiliated with him. So, but
and then you file a lawsuit. He hugged you. There's the whole thing.
But this story took over the news this week.
Well, yeah. When you hear about
how big the story is.
Well, when you hear about someone who is extremely wealthy having to sit behind bars, that right there is going to gain headlines. But it's P. Diddy, and I think it wouldn't have been as big if he didn't have to stay behind bars. But now that he's there and locked up, now people are super fascinated with it.
It's everyone's digging on this story more and more. Tons of press outside the courthouse. Stay tuned to see what happens next. But thank you guys for watching and listening to the Raw Rundown. If you're watching on Red Coral Universe, thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Check us out on our private Facebook group called Off the Record. It's a fun community where you guys can ask us questions. You could talk to, we could talk to you. It's just a really fun community. Like I said, follow me at Adam Glyn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Guys, hope you liked that video. We got a lot more where that came from.
Hit that bell, like, subscribe, share with a friend. The
best thing to do to support us is really doing that, and we really need the money because we need hair gel.